One of the most enjoyable things as a man interacting with women is learning the art of seduction. When you learn how to do this, you can walk into any situation, a room, a restaurant, a bar, an event, and create an atmosphere between you and a woman that you find attractive, who finds you attractive, into something playful, intimate, arousing, and obviously sexual. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a specific idea. It's a mindset shift to help you men out there who suffer from falling into the more logical and rational versions of yourself into a man who can embrace seduction and learn how to become a character that not only can seduce, but do it comfortably and enjoyably and create a good time for any woman that you meet. Hey guys, Coach Jason here. And the other day on Instagram, I ran a poll asking the men who follow me, how many of you guys feel comfortable with seduction? How many of you know what it is? And how many of you really don't have a good grasp of what being seductive actually entails? And the overwhelming majority of the men that responded said that they don't have a good grasp on what it is, and even if they did, they don't know how to use it. There was a small percentage of men who said that they feel comfortable with seduction or know how to seduce, but most of the responses were men sharing with me that they just simply don't know how. And I would have to say that this isn't necessarily the fault of you, because oftentimes nowadays, and perhaps even in the past, the word seduction has a negative connotation to it. It has this idea that some sort of a trickery, a sleight of hand, you're kind of misleading women into falling for you. And that is not what it's all about at all. So we're going to get into that today. Before we do, quick reminder, if you're not already following me on Instagram, my account is called The Sophisticated Scoundrel, at The Sophisticated Scoundrel, and I'm uploading weekly, many times a week, short bite-sized pieces of actionable content. This could be reels, it could be photos, captions, all that kind of good stuff that's very, very relevant and usable for you guys out there who are trying to get better with women. So if you're not already, go check it out on Instagram and throw me a DM once you do. Just let me know you found me through the YouTube page, and I appreciate that. All right. So, like I said, today we're going to get into a mindset shift, and I want to make this very easy for you guys to get out today. And I'd like you to try this today: is to go out and use this technique to get better at seduction, because there's nothing more painful than getting the guts up to go talk to a woman at a bar, at the park, at a grocery store, and then not really having it go anywhere. It falls flat, it fizzles out. You kind of just, maybe you do get a number, but it doesn't go anywhere. And I don't want that for you guys, okay? So here's the idea. This is something that I thought about when thinking about what's a good mindset for men. Here's what it is, because you have to put away your logic and reason when you're interacting with women, okay? It's not about that. Go back to the high school version of yourself, okay? Now, what exactly do I mean when I say go back to that version of yourself? Well, that is the version for most men, not all, of course, of the time in your life where you truly just did not really give two F's about what other people thought about you, okay? You were hitting teenage years, puberty, you had a lot of testosterone, maybe you had some angst, some energy, ambition, drive, excitement, and you just were going for it. You didn't care what other people thought, okay? And this oftentimes came out in goofing off, right? Telling crazy jokes, being very audacious with the things that you said. I can even think back to my days, and you'd say things that a lot of times the girls would be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And it was kind of, maybe it was a little bit offensive, maybe it was a little crazy, but it had them laughing all the same. This is the part of yourself that I want you to tap into, because I guarantee a lot of you have this. Now, you know, for some of you, high school days may have been more awkward. You may have been more reserved. You know, I certainly had my moments like that as well. But for the most part, you had this energy, this spirit. And when I talk to a lot of guys in their 30s, not 20s, 30s, 40s, they say to me, back in the day, I felt like I had so much more of an edge. I had so much more like confidence, and I was able to get girls so easily. And I don't understand why I can't anymore. Well, this is a big part of it, is that you now care too much. You're too logical. You're too serious. You follow rationality when interacting with women instead of emotion. At the core of what it means to go back to your high school version of yourself is to elicit emotional responses in women, okay? That is really the key base fundamental core of the idea here. Because women respond to emotion. Their panties don't get wet with logic and reason, okay? How did you make them feel? They want to feel something, okay? This could be surprise. This could be laughter. This could be tension, okay? How you make a woman feel doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make them feel like a positive feeling, right? Tension can be it toes the line between positive and, I wouldn't say negative, but just a feeling that could be just anything but positive, right? And if you think back to high school, right? When I look back at my high school days, I was into skateboarding. I was an artist. I wanted to be a comic book artist. I was drawing all the time. I was part of the school magazine, into art, counterculture, the music. I was a skateboarder. My clothes were crazy compared to the more popular kids. And that alone had a sense of that audacity that I'm talking about. Like, hey, look, I don't care what you guys think about me. I'm dressing this way. I'm doing this thing. And what that does is it's very seductive, right? If you think about it, a man who accepts danger, a man who walks a line of potentially being outcast, there's some seduction there. Now, it's not like what you think about when you think romance, candlelight dinners, that kind of seduction. That's a type of it. But this is a form of intrigue and mystery. Those two things allude and lead to seduction. You're seduced into, well, what's that guy got going on? Why is he like that? How does he have the strength and his confidence to march to the beat of his own drum, despite maybe getting teased or picked on? He still seems confident. He still rocks it every single day. He comes to school. Just something about that guy, right? And this is what I'm saying, is like, this is a seductive behavior. So when I say go back to the high school version of yourself, it's that mentality. So let's say you're going on a date. How does this apply to now? Okay. You go on a date. You're having a conversation. You have the balls to say something, an innuendo, a sexual innuendo. You're flirting. Okay. You're building tension, which again leads to seduction. You're slowly pulling her in to your world. And this is all part of the process, because if you think about it, if you go on a date and you're not seducing a woman to intimacy, then you're basically keeping things platonic. You're keeping things distant. You're keeping things as an acquaintance. And that's not what a date is designed to do, right? You want to create an atmosphere. You being the man need to lead this toward an atmosphere that creates romance and seduction, so you can eventually become intimate. Now, it might not be that night, but you want to do enough things where she's interested in you. She wants to see more of you, because this is what we need to do. Men and women need to come together. And if you're not seducing, tapping into that seductive side of yourself, then you're doing yourself, and you're also doing that woman a disservice. She comes to that date thinking, this could be, I want to find a man that will sweep me off my feet. I want to find a man that I can let go with and trust. Seduction brings you into that, because it creates this almost like a bubble. This, like, it kind of surrounds the two of you when you can lead that interaction in a seductive manner. Okay. So again, part of it is being audacious, flirting, sexual innuendo. Part of it is mystery. When I think back to my high school days, like I said, being an artist has a sense of mystery, because it's like, okay, this guy's deep. What's he thinking about? I want to dissect his mind. I want to figure out what's going on. I want to get underneath that sort of that behind that wall, right? And a lot of times sports players have this too. They're so dialed in on the game. There's that level of focus, and women are like, wow, what's underneath that? I want to get underneath that. There's like a mystery there. There's this desire to see what's within those eyes that are so focused on the world. Same with artists, okay? So take some time to think about who were you back in those days? And maybe if it's not for high school, what is a time in your life where you really felt that way? Okay. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys is tap into that part of you that just didn't care as much. You didn't think as much. You didn't overthink as much, right? You didn't worry as much. You acted and then thought about it later. You need to get back to this. Many of you overthink, over worry, over analyze, and you're stuck here and nothing comes out of your body. No action is taken. No words are spoken. No risks are taken. No chances. All the chances are kind of left in the closet. You're not willing to put yourself in danger. And when I mean danger, you don't put yourself in a position of risking rejection. Okay? Why this is amazing. Why this is an amazing thing to do is because it does put you in a position of rejection. Now, why would doing that be wise? Why would putting yourself in the position of potential rejection be wise? Well, it goes back to the whole notion of audacity and seduction. When a man is comfortable being rejected, when a man is comfortable, he can look a woman in the eyes, say some sort of an innuendo, and not look away, not defend himself, not apologize. That shows balls. That shows strength. And what are women drawn to? Power, strength, leadership. Those things as well are very seductive. The seduction of power, of strength, of mystery. This is what it all boils down to. So I like to say, go back to your high school days. The man who just didn't care as much, who just was kind of like almost a middle finger to the world kind of attitude, the bravado, the swagger, the don't give an F, that tone, tap into that, okay? Or if that wasn't the time in your life where you did that, think about the time in your life where you did do this and tap back into it and bring it back out. And this is why I like to say, so many of you guys, it's within you. But it's been buried. It's been pushed aside or it's been forgotten about. And I'm here to remind your ass to pull it back out. Get back in there and use it. This stuff is a muscle. Even to this day, I still practice this stuff because, imagine Bruce Lee. You can't just train for 1 year, become a master, and then you're done. You live this for life. All these guys, you live it for life if you really want to be a master, if you really want to get good at something, okay? So that's what I would recommend to you guys. And, if this is something that you've been trying to do, you don't understand it, or you're just like, I can't figure this out on my own. Click that link down below. That's for you to book a free consultation call with me where I get to learn more about you, see where you're getting stuck, what's been holding you back. And if it seems like a good fit for us to work together, then I'll walk you through my coaching program and we can get you started right away. Okay. So once again, last little reminder, follow me on Instagram at the Sophisticated Scoundrel. Tons of really great actionable content there. So if you need a little quick bite-sized little reminders every day, then go over there and check that out. All right. All right, guys, that does it for this video. I will see you in the next one.